Welcome to the College of Education Preview Day. We are so excited to talk to you today about the amazing career opportunities and resources available when you decide to study with faculty in the College of Education at UNT. The College of Education was actually the first academic unit present when UNT was founded in 1890. Dr. Randy Bomer is the current Dean of the College of Education, and through his leadership, we are committed to providing you an outstanding undergraduate experience. My name is Dr. Brian McFarland, and I am the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Education. Today, I'm inviting you to join with me on an exploration of career training options in the College of Education. While the College of Education has a diverse set of majors, one could argue that every student who graduates in our college is an educator at their core. The College of Education includes 3 departments that are heavily focused on undergraduate students. These departments are Teacher Education and Administration, Kinesiology, Health Promotion and Recreation, and Educational Psychology that includes Human Development and Family Science. Current workforce data indicates that only about 27% of college graduates in the U.S. work in a field that exactly matches their college degree. In the College of Education, we address this by talking to students not only about degree structures, but more importantly about career paths and career training. Also, UNT has a campus-wide program called Career Connect, which focuses broadly on advanced job skills, including oral and written communication, team building, and critical thinking, to name a few. We will talk more about Career Connect in a moment. Let's now explore careers that are possible with our departments. When you think of teacher education, about a career as a teacher, you would be correct. However, there are many other career paths that you will also be prepared for. Teaching is considered an entry point for working as a school leader, district leader, curriculum designer, and researcher, just to name a few. The field of teaching is ever evolving, and we continue to create innovative curriculum to train the next generation of professionals. The Department of Kinesiology, Health Promotion, and Recreation has a diverse set of degrees that prepare students for careers as a physical therapist, coach, personal trainer, fitness professional, physical educator, and/or recreation and event manager. KHPR students complete a variety of courses across many departments on campus, providing a breadth of knowledge that either prepares them for a distinct and direct career path or for additional professional education. The career paths related to human development and family science in the Department of Educational Psychology include careers as a certified family life educator, victim advocate, family specialist, mental health specialist, developmental specialist, case manager, child care director, and/or adoption counselor. Similar to KHPR, some of these careers are direct, while others may require additional professional education. This is a short summary of just a few of the outstanding careers you could pursue after graduation should you seek a degree in the College of Education. But wait, there's more. We want to kickstart your career before graduation through your participation in a variety of career and discipline-specific internship experiences. These early career entry experiences will give you the opportunity to apply your knowledge in a real career situation. As your parents will probably tell you, one of the hardest parts of getting that first job is that your resume may include limited professional accomplishments. UNT is committed to helping you fill that gap with what we call Career Connect. Through this program, you will be given an electronic resume that you can begin adding professional experiences to on your first day at UNT. The career skills that are vertically integrated throughout our degree programs include communications, teamwork, and critical thinking, to name a few. This program is designed to help you demonstrate all the career skills you have accumulated during your time at UNT and augment that traditional paper resume. Now that we have completed a soaring tour of the College of Education, only one question remains. Will you join me and the faculty of the College of Education in becoming the next generation of future Eagles? We will now have a time of question and answer, and I would love to discuss any additional questions you have about UNT and the College of Education. All right. So that's a very short introduction about the College of Education and the careers that we offer. I think at this point, we're going to just leave the rest of the time this morning for question and answer. So if you have some questions about the College of Education, any of its degree options or majors or career paths, please feel free to put those in the chat box. And my moderator, Victoria Merkel, will actually get to those questions as they come in.
In the Q&A field, not the chat.
Oops, yes, there we go. So
one of the big ones we have is, I want to be an elementary school teacher. What do I major in?
So that's a great question. Actually, well, let me think about how, okay, so the state of Texas for a long time has not actually allowed universities to offer degrees in education, which sounds confusing. But what that means is if you started with the College of Education this fall, in fall of 2020, you would actually be getting a degree in what's called interdisciplinary studies with a focus on teaching. And our teaching degrees focus on E6 education. So basically, that's early childhood through the sixth grade. So that's all the way through elementary education. And starting though in the fall of 2021, you'll actually be able to get a degree, a bachelor's of science in education, because the College of Education is getting ready to implement a new degree program because the state recently changed the rules on the titles of degrees.
What are the requirements for being accepted into the College of Education?
So it depends on what your major is going to be. If your major is teacher education is actually one of the degrees that requires a two-step admission process. So initially you will be admitted as a student in the teacher education program, and then usually in your sophomore year, the tail end of your sophomore year, beginning of your junior year, you'll actually apply for the teacher education program, which requires a certain set of standards that are established by the state of Texas. So certain GPA requirements, you have to write an application of why you want to be a teacher. And at that point, you'd be admitted to the teacher education program. And then that's what actually gets you permission to go and take student teaching and complete the remainder of your teaching degree. If you were a kinesiology major, you would be also admitted into a pre-kinesiology track. And then again, once you've established certain GPA criteria in specific courses, then you would be admitted as a full kines student. Kinesiology is actually a fairly popular degree right now because a lot of people are very interested in physical therapy, occupational therapy, and physician's assistant. And that kinesiology degree is actually the perfect pre-degree to get to going on to those fields of study.
And let's say I want to work with children, but not necessarily teach.
So again, lots of options here. So as I said, being a teacher, we think of all of our majors as teachers. They all teach in some way, just not necessarily in the traditional classroom setting. But as I kind of indicated, even the teacher education degree that we offer, there's a lot of other career paths than just teaching. So a lot of our graduates go on to become curriculum designers. So they actually work in district offices to design the curriculum that teachers use. We also have an entire major of human, family, and developmental sciences. And that degree focuses on a lot of aspects of children that are not in the traditional realm of serving as a teacher in the classroom.
Would it be possible to have a minor while majoring in education or interdisciplinary studies?
I think it all depends on the actual structure of your degree. So one of the things that we don't in these at least interim periods we don't spend a lot of time looking at is the actual structure of what your degree will look like. So that's a big part of what we like to do at UNT is every student. So we'll have a lot of, for instance, we may have a big cohort of students getting a degree in education, but every one of those students, their actual degree plan will be slightly different. So one of the things that we do that I think is really great at UNT is we have a whole team of professional advisors
And so this is a whole staff of people that we hire just to advise you on courses and help you design a degree plan that best serves your needs. And so I think the main thing you'd want to think through too is if you wanted to add a minor such as a foreign language, particularly French, you would need to kind of talk through that with the an advisor. Now, what I would advise if I was giving some career advice to you is, especially in the Texas area, North Texas, I would say you should strongly consider, if you're going to look at a foreign language, you should strongly consider Spanish. There is a large population of Spanish speaking individuals in this area and in the state. And actually having that as basically English as a second language skills, that makes you very marketable as a teacher, because there's lots of school districts looking to employ people with those skills. So just something to think about. But that's definitely a conversation you could have with an advisor and have with a faculty member.
Do you have to have 60 credit hours in order to be considered a freshman?
So I'm not 100% sure what your question is. Anybody who comes into UNT, if you come in with no credit hours, you would actually, I guess, be given the rank, you'd be considered the rank of freshman. Although I would say those ranks, the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, they're becoming a lot more nebulous because we have so many students that come into UNT with credits that they bring with them. A lot of time that's from dual credit courses that they took in high school, or they take classes at a junior college and they transfer those in. So that term is a lot more nebulous. If you brought in 60 credit hours and you had completed an associate's degree, for example, then you would likely come into UNT what we call core complete, which means that you would have no more classes really to take at the 2000 or 1000 level. And at that point, when you entered UNT, once all your credits were applied, you would more than likely start taking classes in your major right away.
I have an associate's degree in liberal science. Can I transfer my core credits and electives? How can I find which classes? Do I need to apply first?
Yeah, so the good news is that UNT actually has a transfer guide, course transfer guide. I'm fairly certain the admissions office staff could give you a copy of that. And every school in Texas, whether or not every state school or state two-year university, we all have agreements in place saying which classes, that this class at this one university is equal to this class at this other university. So the best thing to do is to get one of those transfer guides and actually look at how the courses match up. And in general, yes, if you've taken the core classes and they apply to your fields here at UNT, then yes, you can transfer all those. The electives may transfer as well, but that's a place where you have to look at them with an admissions counselor or with an advisor to figure out exactly how they would apply your degree. There are times where sometimes we want a specific course, and so that specific course requirement is associated with that degree plan. So the best thing to do is to really do some more homework with an admissions counselor and or an advisor when you get to that point.
I am interested in ultimately teaching at an international school overseas. Does UNT offer study abroad options within the College of Education?
It all depends. So study abroad is a little bit of a unique program. We have offered from time to time some study abroad experiences in the College of Education. It just depends on what faculty we have that are interested in doing that. And so there have been some opportunities in the past, but it just that's on almost a case by case basis. So the best thing to do is, if you're interested in study abroad, we actually have a study abroad office on campus that you can contact, and they can just kind of put you on their list and contact you anytime there's something that comes up with the College of Education. And that's also a place where you can mention it to your academic advisor, just so they can make note of it on your academic records, so that as we're getting ready to look at those study abroad opportunities, that you could explore that. And I think it all depends. The study abroad opportunities largely depend on where you think you might end up wanting to work too. Because if you're wanting to work, for instance, in Europe, a study abroad opportunity in South America may not actually be very applicable to your degree. So I think you would really have to kind of on a case by case basis look at those opportunities. Obviously, because of our current situation, we actually are not planning any study abroad opportunities for a while.
Our next question from the audience is, I work as a SPED teacher aide full time. Does UNT have night courses? I'm interested in teaching.
So currently, especially for the teaching degree, we do not offer night courses. However, there are some more flexible options related to the degree structure when it comes to the degree path that we offer at UNT Frisco. So UNT Denton has two campuses. We have the campus in Denton, and then we have a satellite campus in Frisco. And the satellite campus in Frisco functions a little bit different than the main campus in that many times we use that as an incubator program to test out new degree offerings. And so currently teacher education is possible at the Denton campus in a very traditional format, and also at the Frisco campus in a modified format. And that modified format includes some slightly different teaching modalities, and it includes some different class offerings. There's more work done to group classes together so that if you were a full-time employee somewhere else, that you could still potentially complete the degree option. So I think for you, you definitely should look at some of the opportunities and options in Frisco. And I think there is a session, I think the third session today is actually a session by UNT Frisco. So you might stick around and pop in on the third session and ask them some of those same questions about the degree programs.
Is there a program that offers evening or weekends?
So in general, undergraduate courses are offered during the daytime hours. Not traditionally; those courses are not traditionally offered in the evenings or weekends. There is throughout all the degree programs at the undergraduate level, there is some programs that have courses that are asynchronous, fully online courses. And these courses have been in place long before our current situation that we have with COVID-19. So these courses are very well designed asynchronous online courses, and to some extent, those courses could be done at a time that of the students choosing. Oh, for grad. Okay, I say, wait a minute, we got to follow up to that for the graduate program. Yes. Okay. So to answer that question, most of the graduate offerings are in the evenings. A large number of the graduate courses are offered in the evenings because they're offered with the idea that the students in those programs are working during the day, either working for the university or working elsewhere. And so the course offerings are in the evenings. We do also have at the graduate level some fully online graduate classes and degree programs. So there are some opportunities within the education field to complete a fully online master's degree if that was your desire.
If I'm attending a community college, would you recommend I transfer to UNT? When would you? Excuse me.
When? I think that's a question that's entirely up to you. The one thing that I would say is depending on if you're doing it depends on so it depends a little bit on what your major is. So if you are, for instance, a teacher education major, I would love for, and you're attending a community college, I would love for you to reach out to Victoria or I to talk about what the timing of that transfer might look like, because we would love to connect you with one of our colleagues, Dr. Christina Dearman. And Dr. Dearman manages what we call a pathway program that connects community college and two-year universities to UNT. And she could really look at the courses you've taken and help you figure out when it's time to make that move. The one thing that we do caution with taking courses at the community college or two-year university, we think that's a great way to get your college career started, but you want to be careful and not take too many courses. So those are great opportunities to get core complete, to get some of those basic courses out of the way. But then we want to go ahead and get you on transfer to UNT because we still want to get you graduated within the 120-hour limit. So if you did around 60 hours of coursework at that two-year school and then came to UNT, you'd have about 60 hours of coursework left at UNT. So maybe about 2 years at that two-year school and 2 years at UNT, and then you'd be complete. So definitely, if that's kind of your path that you're on right now, I think that's a great path. I think what I would really recommend is that you reach out to one of the two of us. And one thing just to tell everyone here today is at the end of this session, you'll get an email from Victoria and I that includes our contact information. And you can feel free to reply back to us, and we'll work on connecting you to the right person in the College of Education, whether that be a faculty member in the department that you're interested in, whether that be Dr. Dearman in the Pathway program with teacher education, or whether that be an academic advisor or someone in admissions, just to answer some other questions you have about your specific situation. So definitely in this kind of format, we can answer some questions, but a lot of the questions you may have are likely ones you won't have until you're potentially done for the end of the day today.
Well, and a follow-up to that, the next question is, I'm also interested in child life specialist. Does UNT have a degree that can fall into that?
Absolutely. So that's the Human, Family, and Developmental Sciences degree in the Department of Educational Psychology. That degree is a very versatile degree. We have lots of students who major in that because they want to work with children, but they don't want to be a school teacher. And that is the perfect degree for that kind of career path. And the thing that I just kind of say to the audience too is I think it's great coming in to know or think you know what you want your career to be. That certainly will help you get on the path that you want to be on. But keep in mind that your educational experience at UNT is meant to be a journey too. And so it's okay if you don't know when you come in here exactly what you want to do when you graduate. The reality is that many of the career paths that you or your child may take when they finish UNT are career paths that don't exist yet. And so the big thing that UNT really likes to do is we like to push to get to get to get students to have career skills that will translate to lots of different careers. I think a really good example of that is when I started my college career, I knew I wanted to be an athletic trainer. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I got an undergrad degree in athletic training, and I think I terrified my parents, but it wasn't until the last semester of my senior year that I realized I didn't really want to be an athletic trainer. And then I had an opportunity. I went on and I went to additional graduate school, and I ended up in this role I am now as a professor and doing research in the area of sport injury. So I think the biggest thing is be open to other opportunities that may be outside what you considered as a career path that you want to pursue. And definitely, parents, I understand. I actually have a child in a few years that's going to be going to college. I totally understand how terrifying that is for your child to say when they're nearly done with their degree that they don't know what they want to do with it. But it will work out. Please trust that we will make sure your child has the skills to be a successful professional.
What if I want to coach in a high school?
Oh, so that's a great question. So keep in mind at the high school level in particular, if you want to be a coach or you want to be a sponsor for, say, cheerleading or drill team, those are not usually the person's full-time job. Their full-time job is a teacher, being a teacher in a certain career field, and then they basically get like a salary augmentation to be a coach or to be a drill team director or a cheerleader coach or one of those sponsored activities like that. The only exception I think to that rule is in most schools, the person that's the band director also teaches band class. That's their full-time job, as being a music educator. And so if you were interested in being a music educator, you actually get a degree in the College of Music, and then you focus on music education. And so that means that you would get a degree in the College of Music and you would take some classes in the College of Education, but you'd be a music educator. If you wanted to coach, that's a little bit different because, like I said, that's not your full-time gig in the school. Your full-time gig would be being a teacher. So you would go through the teaching path just like anyone else. And definitely, I would highly recommend looking at teaching fields in the STEM area. Those degrees and people in those areas are in high demand. So you could get a teaching certificate in a science math education and then be a coach as well. So that would make you a highly desirable hire because you have these STEM skills, but then you could also coach in addition to that.
Any suggestions for older adults returning back to college or university? Is the pathway equally the same as a new incoming student?
The pathway is the same. The thing that I would, again, I'd recommend that you look at is, again, this is a place where it's really great to talk to an admissions counselor and then to eventually talk to an academic advisor, because depending on the degree path you're interested in, if you had previous course earnings from a degree even a number of years ago, or a time in college a number of years ago, depending on how old the credits are, we could look at the credits and figure out whether or not there's a way to appeal them being applied in some way. In some cases, though, it's I think the thing to remember is sometimes people apply to a program and they say, okay, I want to get these credits applied to my degree that are from 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. And they have it in their head that by doing so, it's helping them finish their degree faster. And I would just urge you to kind of put a pause on those kind of feelings, because part of the college experience is not doing it fast. I mean, we want to get you out in a timely manner. We certainly don't want you to be here 8 years doing an undergraduate degree. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm also saying is it's really important for you to take that time to develop as a professional too. And sometimes it does take time. I mentioned with my own story, I thought I knew what I wanted to do. I spent 4 years studying a field of study, only to find out in the very end that actually that's not really what I wanted to do with my career. So you have to give time for those things to develop.
I'm interested in being a music educator, more specifically choral music educator. Could I minor in a specific field of education, say math education too?
So that actually might be a little bit challenging, because the one thing to keep in mind, and this is a place again where an academic advisor, probably you need to actually go to a session for the College of Music as well. I don't believe the College of Music is today, but if you follow up with the preview day, the preview day. Oh, okay. Yes, you are. If you follow up with the preview day staff, though, they could tell you when there's going to be a session for the College of Music, and I would definitely attend that session and follow up with somebody from the College of Music. What I will say, though, is the way that teacher certificates work in the state is once you have your degree, you just have to have a certain number of courses in order to take an exam in a certification area. So it's possible you could initially get that degree in music education, but then you could look at adding additional teaching fields. And depending on the school that you might look to work at when you finish, keep in mind that it's quite possible that being a choral educator, that might be your full-time position at the school. If it's a large school with a large enrollment, you might only teach choir classes and nothing else. That's the case at many schools, particularly in the DFW area. If now certainly if you were in a smaller school district that has smaller choir program, then choir might be part of your teaching assignment, and there may be other things assigned as well. So the best thing I can say is that you should definitely have a conversation with the College of Music and talk through them more what you're wanting to do, and they can advise you on the best way to set up your degree.
If you don't like your major, how would you go about changing it?
Oh, you can't do that. Once you're a College of Education major, we don't let you change. You have to stay with that your whole time you're here. Uh, I'm only joking. So that actually that's the thing that's really nice about UNT is we do have flexibility to help people change their majors. Now, obviously, it works a lot better if you decide that you don't like the area you're majoring in before you get to the last semester of your senior year, which is what I did. I would not recommend that, but it does happen. I will tell you that if you waited that long in your career, changing majors would be very difficult, because you would have completed the majority of your courses in the major, and those would not transfer to a new major. If you're thinking about changing majors, really the best time to do that is in the first 2 years of your degree. because in your first 2 years of your degree, you're going to be taking all the core classes, and the core classes are universal between all the departments. So that is actually really the best time to transfer and change majors if you're going to change majors. But hopefully you won't do that. Hopefully you want to stay.
Does the College of Education offer a wide range of scholarships and grants? If applicable, will financially cover most of the cost as a teacher education major?
So in general, the cost of attending UNT is very affordable, especially compared to even to other state schools in Texas. And what I would definitely say that you should do is this is a great time for you to have an interaction with the financial aid office. But you want to definitely fill out the FAFSA so that you can see what financial aid options are going to be available. But in terms of financial aid covering the cost, financial aid can absolutely cover the cost. Now, how that cost is covered is going to be a mix of things. So it could be scholarships, it could be grants, and it could be loans. So it could be covered. It just depends on what your specific situation is. But I'm certainly not the expert on that. I would say refer to financial aid. But we do have scholarships in the College of Education. We have scholarships that we award to transfer students, and we have scholarships that are awarded to continuing students. So every November, we have an application period where continuing students can apply for a scholarship. And this past year, we gave out close to $70,000 in scholarships in the College of Education to transfer and continuing students. So we routinely do that on a regular basis. So I would say if you're interested in scholarships, talk to financial aid and they can tell you about some of the options that are available as a new or transfer student. And then once you're here, you can talk to your academic advisor about opportunities to apply for continuing student scholarships.
How many in-classroom hours are part of UNT's training for the EC through 6 teacher program? How many hours will I be in an elementary classroom by the end of the program?
So that is a changing question at the moment, given our circumstances that we have been dealing with right now. Were forced, like every other school, to modify the number of student teaching hours. And actually, even right now, for this fall, we're using a mix of hours that use an observation system the state of Texas uses for electronic observation, and some in-class hours depending on what the school district allows. So I think for right now, I think what I would say is the best thing that we could do if you want to know some more about that program and how it works is we can refer you to some resources on our website that explain under normal circumstances what we would do. But the degree program is also changing to make more application in the program. So by next fall, when you would start at UNT or potentially even in the spring, we're going to have a lot more options with respect to your impact and role in the classroom and developing as a classroom teacher. The thing I will say is the hours of time you put into student teaching are important, but we really pride ourselves on making that time impactful. So we're not just about stamping a clock and saying, great, she's done 30 hours of student teaching. It's more about making sure that we've impacted your career in a positive way so that when you leave UNT, you are ready to be a student teacher.
Do you have information regarding graduate assistantships?
So graduate assistantships are handled a little bit differently. So the way they are handled, actually advising and the dean's office does not handle graduate assistantships. So graduate assistantships are actually handled at the departmental level. So depending on the area of study that you have, you should contact the specific department and they will refer you to the person that handles their assistantships. But if you want, you don't have to worry about figuring out who that is. If you want to write myself or Victoria back at the end of today and tell us what you're interested in studying, we will connect you with the correct person so that you can start that conversation.
For the teacher program, can you choose the school that you would like to, or is it assigned to you?
It depends. I mean, obviously, UNT has a lot of relationships with a lot of school districts in the area, and we have a whole office in the College of Education called the Teacher Prep Office. and they have a staff of about, I think they've got about 8 people working in that office plus a director, and they work very hard to place students in areas and programs that will best serve them. And so that's ultimately what we're really interested in. So the placement at some points can depend on what your actual major is. So for instance, if you were studying EC6 with English as a second language, we might want to place you in a student teacher setting where you actually get to practice those ESL skills. So obviously that'd be a little bit different than if you were, as somebody was asking about, being a music educator. Your placement for a music educator might be very different. So I think the short version is, yes, we do try to assign you in a place that fits where you're at, but we also try to not think about what your preference is, but think about what assignment would give you the best career experience. And that's ultimately what it's about. And we have, like I said, a whole team of people that are very good at determining what that best career experience would be.
Well, I wanted to jump in real quick. We're at about the 10-minute mark. We've got 10 minutes left in the session. So any last questions that our participants want to submit, go ahead and do that now, so that Tori and Dr. McFarland can get those answered for you, and we will wrap up at 9:50.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
For the teacher certificate, how are the students prepped for this test?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Again, so teacher education is a little bit unique than the other departments because you start out as a teacher education major, but then you basically become a candidate for student teaching and the student teaching exam. And our goal is to have 100% of our students pass that exam. So the way that we do that is we make sure that during those last 2 years, we are infusing all the things that you need to know to successfully pass that exam, and we're reinforcing them. And then that teacher prep office also has an individual who only focuses on, their sole job is to focus on the teaching certificate exam. So students have the opportunity to meet with that person, go through where they're at in terms of their knowledge progression, and then also talk through and practice that exam. So we have the opportunity for you to practice that exam before you actually take it. So again, making sure that we've taught you all the skills you need to know along the way, and then giving you lots of opportunities to practice those skills and reinforce those skills. And that's what the student teaching experience is really about. It's taking all that knowledge you have from the classroom and applying that knowledge, because that application of knowledge is what actually will really reinforce that into your thinking and the way that you do things and help you be successful on that student certificate exam.
Anything you can tell me about the clinical mental health counseling graduate program?
Yes, I can tell you that we have one. No, I'm just kidding. So I think the best thing to do would be for you to follow up with us at the end of the session today. And we will actually connect you with Dr. Natalia Lindo. Dr. Lindo is actually the chair of that department, counseling and higher education. And I think that either she can directly talk to you about that particular program, or she can connect you with another faculty member who can talk to you more about that program. So I know, yes, we do have that program. It's a really great program at UNT. We've trained a number of different people to actually work in that setting. So I think the best thing to do would be to connect you with Dr. Lindo, because she can give you all the additional detail you're interested in about that program and what it looks like to be part of that program. Because that program is a little bit unique to others in the College of Education. Obviously, we think of some of what they do as educating, but it's a very different type of educational experience too.
Thank you.
Yep, you're very welcome, very welcome. Thank you all for coming this morning too. I know it's crazy to be up early on a Saturday morning to learn more about the College of Education, but we're really great and happy that you did. Um, so lots of other things going on, but great to have you here. I think the preview team is also doing some virtual campus tours, right? Doing those? Are we doing those, Laura?
Yes, you can. So for the rest of the day today, we'll be having our event till 4 o'clock. You can meet with admissions counselors like myself if you have questions about applying and getting in, and definitely head to our tours website. We are offering virtual tours, so check those out as well. You can watch videos about UNT, interactive maps. So we definitely have some resources to help you get more acquainted with the university overall.
So a couple of students, Laura, had also asked about how transfer credits work. Do you guys have the transfer guides that you could pass off to a student?
Yes, so I put the link to the transfer guide in the answer to that question. So if our participants can see those answers, you should be able to scroll up and see where I dropped that link. You can just, even if you just Google UNT transfer guides, it'll come right up. Those are housed on the registrar's office website, but we can definitely walk you through those. And my recommendation as an admissions counselor is always, if you have questions, just reach out. That's why we are all doing the jobs that we're doing, is to help you. So definitely email us, call us, stick around during the event today. We can do a one-on-one Zoom meeting with you to talk about credits or application, anything that you need help with. So we are here to help you.
And hopefully we can have you all visit campus for real, like in the real, really soon. We'd love to have you see the campus. It's the UNT has a really beautiful campus. I still remember when I interviewed for a job here a number of years ago, seeing the campus, and I'd never been to the UNT campus, and I was surprised. I mean, it's a really nice campus. I think we've got a lot of really nice resources for students to use and take advantage of, and just propel that learning to a whole new level.
Absolutely.
Oh, I think this is your question right here, Laura.
Let's see. Yes, so that was going to be my next reminder. The meetings are going to be, all the sessions are going to be recorded. So we do have, I mentioned earlier in an answer to a question that for example, the College of Music session is starting at 10 o'clock today. And then we will have different academic departments and schools featured in our different preview events this fall. So if there's a college or an academic area that you were interested in that the session is not today, but it's later on and maybe you can't attend that date, all of these sessions will be recorded and posted within the next few days after the event. So the recording for today's session will be up probably within the week. And you should also be receiving contact information for any follow-up questions that you have. So all of that should be available to you.
Wonderful, thank you. Oh, and the College of Music is today, so there you go.
It is today.
So a couple people asking about that, so you can just stick around, go to the next session, hear from my colleagues in the College of Music, great group of faculty over there. They can get you set up. Of course, I do have to warn you, they are going to dissuade you from doing math education. They're going to tell you you only need to be a College of Music major. So.
Well, Tori and Dr. McFarland, thank you again so much for joining us this morning. You've given us such great information and enjoyed watching y'all's video presentation as well. So thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you to our attendees as well. We encourage you to stick around and just let us know if there's anything we can do to help you.